This famous Melbourne cricket ground has played host to a number of magnificent sporting contests over so many years, and tonight should be yet another one, because royalty is in town. Hello and welcome to the MCG. Sporting royalty is here. The Red Devils have arrived. Manchester United, what a team they are, arguably the most fashionable sporting club in the world right now, and they take on a Socceroo team whose coach is really surviving, I guess, in many ways, Raul Blanco. This is a huge night for him. It's a big night for a number of veterans in our team, and a very big night for a number of young hopefuls who hopefully will be playing in the Olympic team about this time next year. One man who knows all about playing for Australia joins me tonight, Paul Wade. Paul, it's a big chance for the Australian team tonight, but it is a formidable group they're up against.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just got to look at what they've done in the last, well, 2 months really. They've won the treble, and just to give you an idea on what the treble is, to win the league and the cup and the championship, it just means that you have done something that none of the 5 major superpowers in Europe have done ever in the history of football.
Yes, there's no doubt 1999 was a great year for Manchester United.
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest football team in history! Manchester!
As a football club, United are big business, the biggest in the world. But last season, the most supported club on the planet finally turned that into unprecedented success on the pitch.
Making history today in so many ways, Manchester United.
No other club had achieved the treble, the Premier League, the FA Cup and the European Champions Cup in the same season.
Up it goes. Manchester United's night in magnificent circumstances.
But it was the FA Cup semi-final replay against Arsenal. Ryan Giggs scored the goal of the season and United marched into the final.
Wonderful run from Giggs! Sensational goal from Ryan Giggs in the second period of extra time.
The first part of the treble was clinched in front of their own fans at Old Trafford, when a 2-1 victory over Tottenham brought the title to Manchester for the 5th time in 7 years. A week later, and United went to Wembley, and goals from Teddy Sheringham and Paul Scholes clinched their 3rd league and cup double this decade.
Tee up Paul Scholes, 2-0!
But it wasn't enough. More than anything, United craved to be champions of Europe.
2 down, 1 to go in this glorious attempt at this unprecedented treble.
To achieve that, the English team had to overcome the mighty German side, Bayern Munich, who were chasing their own domestic treble. After falling behind to an early free kick, a strangely subdued United chased the game for 85 minutes without reward. Just when the dream appeared to be shattered, an unbelievable finish saw 2 goals in the final 2 minutes, and United had met their destiny.
Manchester United, quite simply, are the greatest club side that England have ever produced.
Martin Tyler summing it up so well. A stirring story, Paul, and they have arrived. They have a great team, a tremendous depth in their team. You don't win European Cups, FA Cups and League Championships unless you go very deep.
No, well, I mean, you're looking at over 70 games now, and that's in a 10-month period. So if you think you play a lot of games in the Aussie rules and rugby league, imagine what these guys are going through.
And there's an Aussie at the top there, Mark Bosnich, and his comeback game with Manchester United. We wish him well. And what about the Socceroo team, that big mix that we've got?
Yeah, it is a good mix. Michael Petkovic, he's probably the most nervous man out there. He was goalkeeper of the year in Australia this year, and what a big time to make your debut. A few other people there, but one man, Aurelio Vidmar, has been there, done it before at the MCG. We remember that game against Iran, so he'll be looking to make sure he gets back on the scoreboard.
And yet again, Alex Tobin leading the Australian team. Well, the Manchester United team was late arriving. They only got here about an hour and a bit before kick-off. What an off-season they've had. They hardly had time to reflect on all the glory when they were pulled out of the FA Cup. They're going to the World Club Championship. It seems that controversy surrounds this team wherever they go.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they wouldn't talk to me. I mean, we talk about professional outfits. They would not do an interview with me before the game. They were totally focused on this one. There's Ryan Giggs getting off the bus. There's Nicky Butt as well. I mean, They've got solemn faces. There's no smiles, is there? They know that their manager's sitting at home watching all of this, so one mistake and that could be a contract torn up.
And for Mark Bosnich, the last time he played on this ground was against Iran for Australia, and then that great double of Cole and York.
Yeah, there they are, last off the bus. You can't stop Dwight York smiling, but I tell you what, when that whistle goes, he knows his job is to score goals.
Fittingly, Vidmar first off the bus for Australia.
Exactly. He's desperate to make sure he gets back on the winning list. There's Danny Tiato, plays for Manchester City. Michael Petkovic, that's the man, the goalkeeper, and Alex Tobin. This is his 115th game. There's Vinny Grella, who plays for Empoli in Italy, and not got Jason Petkovic. And Stan Lazaridis, the only man to be released from the English Premier League, which says a lot about Stan. He's devoted to this Aussie team.
What a first half he played 19 months ago against Iran. Well, Manchester United may not have wanted to talk to you, but you did catch one of the Australians before the match.
I certainly did. They're in good spirits, the Aussies, and a man who's full of dreams is Vinny Grella. Vinny, does this seem like a fairy tale to you? I mean, Zinedine Zidane 6 months ago, now Man United?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a fairy tale. I'm really looking forward to my first international cap from the starting 11, so just get out there and enjoy it and have fun.
What's been all the talk in the dressing rooms?
Not really much, just to relax. We've got a lot of young boys in there. I've got a couple of the old boys as well, Stan Lazaridis and that, so it's just to relax and enjoy it and put on, you know, a good game for the crowd.
Vinny Grella there, so the stage is set. There's a very, very big crowd here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Sheringham! Brilliant play by Manchester United. It is! Goal!
That's a terrific shot from the Goodyear blimp as we welcome you back. The Socceroos and Manchester United, a fireworks display that did this match proud prior to the game. The Goodyear blimp will show us some terrific shots throughout tonight's match. A very good crowd here, probably at the moment edging towards 60, maybe a little more here. It's hard, it's such a vast stadium. It can hold 97,000. We had 85,000 here 19 months ago for Australia versus Iran. One man who played over 70 internationals for Australia, current coach of Marconi, Frank Farina. Frank, the atmosphere is electrifying at the moment.
Yes, it's fantastic. The crowd's really building up at the moment, and the atmosphere down here, when these players come out in the field, I think the place is going to explode.
Well, the Melbourne Cricket Ground's very famous, but is it a famous field for soccer matches? Is it lumpy and bumpy, just like Manchester United discovered yesterday, Frank?
Yeah, that's right. The centre of the surface isn't really good at the moment. It's a little bit hard, but I'm sure that they've played on worse before. But I think both teams will have to adjust, and Manchester United aren't too happy about it. But unfortunately, it's a situation which they've got to put up with, as well as Australia.
What sort of condition do you think Manchester United have arrived in, Frank, for this couple of matches both here and in Sydney?
Well, I think that the Manchester United, being the best club side that England has ever produced, and obviously the European champions at the moment, they will still be a little bit underdone, but a side like Manchester United will always want to win games because teams are playing against them and will obviously want to do their best.
Well, one of the interesting things tonight is that they're going to get huge support. We see the Socceroos here. What about our team and the mix of old and young, Frank?
Well, it's a fantastic opportunity for a lot of these young players, I feel, to show what they can produce against, obviously, the best team that's going around in the world at the moment. And who knows who's going to be out there? There's going to be a lot of scouts, I believe, and these young players, you're not going to get a bigger stage or a better stage than the one they've got tonight.
In closing, who are you going for?
I'm going for the Socceroos, as always.
Good on you, Frank. We look forward to hearing from you throughout the night. Paul, you wouldn't expect him to say anything else, would you?
No, absolutely not. That's Frank Farina for you. I think he's been a little bit optimistic, but then again, he wears his green and gold heart on his sleeve most of the time, as he does.
So there's the group that are representing Australia tonight. And as I said at the start, many of those young players will be in Sydney in September, and at this ground too when the Olympic Games kick off, searching for a gold medal. But tonight they're searching for a scalp, a famous scalp, that of Manchester United, the club that swept the board in 1999, the club that's probably expected to win the first World Club Championship in Brazil next January. It's going to be interesting, Paul, who the crowd go for here tonight, because Man U have support everywhere around the world.
Yeah, they certainly do. When the ground announcer said who's supporting Man United tonight, the place erupted.
Well, players have lined up, and in just a moment, the national anthems, firstly of England and then of Australia. Big crowd, big atmosphere. Melbourne people love their sport. They've proven that over the years, and tonight they're going to see a team with such a build. 12 English titles, 10 FA Cups, probably best of all these days, 2 European Champion Cups.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save our Queen, send her victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save our Queen.
Mark Bosnich, what a night for him.
All rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our lands abound in nature's gifts, our beauties rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia.
It's the moment before any big match where the hair does stand up on the back of your neck. Paul Williams, the voice of Australian soccer, joins us yet again tonight for what should be a great occasion. Paul, welcome.
Yes, thanks, Bruce. It's 19 months since Australian fans, soccer fans that is, packed into the MCG when we faced Iran in that shattering World Cup qualifier here. But in contrast to the tension and high emotion of that evening, is certainly a more festive feel about tonight's proceedings. Certainly for the Australian players on show, I'm sure the nerves are tingling. Manchester United are the visitors, and Australia have fielded a side of talented but somewhat untested young warriors, and that's what they're playing for. The Sharp Challenge Trophy. The second match will be played in Sydney on Sunday. And a great feel about the MCG. As always, Bruce, when there's a big football game here.
No doubt about that. So they're playing in one Olympic stadium tonight, and they'll be playing in a future one on a Sunday. The lineups, we've showed you the squads and the numbers. We'll have a look and see just where they will be positioned. And there's the
Manchester United side, and only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wasn't considered after back problems caused by the flight to Australia. In defence, Phil Neville slots into right back in his brother Gary's absence. Dennis Irwin is made captain with Roy Keane still in Manchester. And in midfield, the two youngsters, Jonathan Greeding and Mark Wilson, will play on the right-hand side. Teddy Sheringham got the nod ahead of Andy Cole in attack. But the club's only summer signing is the Australian Mark Bosnich, and it's club before country for him tonight. Both sets of players together for the final team photo before the match begins. The Australian side have been looking forward to this one for a long, long time. And it's an Australian team full of young men eager to show that they're ready for the big stage. 5 of Australia's Olympic teams start the game. Steve Labert of Brisbane playing his first international, as is the goalkeeper Michael Petkovic. And to complement the youthful feel of the side, there's Aurelio Vidmar in action tonight, 32 years of age. His teammates Alex Tobin and Stan Lazaridis have major parts to play to keep the young pulses calm. And one of the big name players for Manchester United, Teddy Sheringham, scored in the FA Cup final after coming on as a substitute and repeated that feat in the European Cup final 4 days later. And tonight he's partnered by Dwight York. What an incredible first season he had for Manchester United. Paul Wade, it's always great when big teams come to tour Australia, and they don't come any bigger in club sides than Manchester United.
No, they certainly don't. I'll tell you what inspires me. When you hear the national anthem sung like that, you know it's Australia versus the rest of the world. It just happens to be Manchester United tonight. There is Stan Lazaridis, one of the very few that's been released from the English Premier League. He knows where his future lies. It lies with the Socceroos, who are going to be attempting to qualify for the World Cup for the first time in a long, long time.
Well, Mark Shield is in charge of tonight's match. What a big night for him. He's only 26 years of age, the Queenslander. He has an incredible refereeing career ahead of him. I'm sure his heart is beating just a little bit quicker as well. That's Nicky Butt. He's the only Manchester United player to have played in Australia before. He played here in the World Youth Cup in 1993. And that, of course, is an extremely familiar face for all Australian fans, though perhaps the jersey is just a little bit strange on him still. Alex Tobin, Australian captain, what a major part he'll play tonight. 89th international for Australia. Well, Manchester United haven't lost a match since last December. That's 8 months of football since they were beaten. Australia are hoping the jet lag factor will be working in their favour here tonight as the match is about to get underway. And it's Manchester United's first game since the high drama in Barcelona when they clinched the unprecedented treble, marking them as the greatest club side to come out of England. It's an awesome aura about this team. The young Australian side will be hoping to take advantage of some cobwebs perhaps. They've only been back in pre-season training for a few days. They've travelled a long way to come to Australia. And Ross Aloisi wins a free kick for the Socceroos. Berg plays it long, straight to Alex Tobin, the Australian captain. Back to Hayden Fox, who's a young man, but he's an extremely confident player. He won't be overawed by reputations as Blomqvist goes into the area. Danger here for Australia, and a great recovery by Kolasinac.
I guess this is the danger that the Socceroos face. They're very good out wide, Manchester United. Alex Ferguson loves them to attack from out wide. No Giggs and Beckham, but they've still got quality.
Corner comes in. Cleared away by Brett Everton, doing some work in defence. It's Jonathan Greening. He's only played a handful of first-team games for Manchester United, but talking to their coach Steve McLaren today, he expects every season one young player to come through and break into the first team. He expects it may be Greening this season. It's a nice pass out wide. Keep up with the early cross. It's a Manchester United throw. I guess the tough thing for Australia, Wadey, is that as well as playing 11 opponents, they're also playing a massive reputation that this side brings.
Yeah, it's not often you get quality on Australian soil like this. We're starved. That's the problem that Australian soccer has. Geographically are too far away from the rest of the world, and that's why we are not making the World Cup. Well, I'll tell you what, if promoters keep bringing quality like this, it won't be too long before we do start making the World Cup.
Teddy Sheringham showing that he's still as sharp as ever, and that's a great ball through the centre and a chance for United. Well, perhaps Just a little bit of rustiness with the finish there from Mark Wilson. He's playing just his 4th game for United tonight. He's only 20 years of age. But while some of the senior players may be returning into the fold for Manchester United, trying to ease their way back into the season, you can bet your life that their youngsters will be as hungry as ever to make an impression early on the coaching staff. Tobin jumps with Sheringham. Sheringham wins the ball, but away come Australia. Here's Lazaridis. Good positive play from Stan Lazaridis. It's a very direct game that he has. And if Australia are really going to take the game to Manchester United, they must be positive, and that's a good start from Stan Lazaridis.
Stan's got that ability not only to run at players once or twice and a half, but he can go for the whole 90 minutes. Phil Neville, they're playing a flat back for Manchester United. They like to mark space. They don't play with wing backs. So it's going to be very difficult for Stan Lazaridis and Simon Colosimo on the other side to penetrate behind that flat back four.
Mr. Blomqvist, the Swedish international, coming inside. Mickey Butt playing it forward. Touched up by York. Slick work by Manchester United, but Australia come away with the ball. It's a little ball through the gap for Everton. United skipper tonight is Dennis Irwin. Roy Keane, the club captain, is still in Manchester. Blomqvist is free on the left. A loose ball. Australia trying to clear it. The shot's been deflected. And Petkovic gratefully accepts the ball. Roy Keane still suffering from an ankle injury that he received in the FA Cup final. He's also in a bit of a dispute with the club about his next contract. So he hasn't made the trip to Australia. And that's well played by Aurelio Vidmar. So much required of him tonight. He's one of the real leaders of the Australian team. Little ball in, it's a good one. The flag's gone up. Soccer Australia stopped short of invoking the FIFA Rule 41 to force some of the overseas clubs to release the Australian players. Very much the shadow Olympic team out here tonight. Mark Shield, the referee, called into action early. That foul on Mickey Butt. Steve Labert. There on Mickey Butt. Clear foul. United continue with York and Butt. Butt sharp in the tackle as ever. Hayden Fox confident on the ball as ever. He goes long looking for Aurelio Vidmar. Touchdown delightfully. Australia forward down the left-hand side. That is a great ball. Tiato will get there. Everton's in there. Ball to the back post. The ball's gone out. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 0. In midfield, looking for the run from Blomqvist, who was cutting inside from the left-hand side. Zaridis can't get to the ball there. Blomqvist just a little too quick for him. York's waiting in the centre, as is Sheringham. York underneath it. Tiato, the ball for Australia. considering they've just spent over 24 hours on a plane, Paul Wade. Certainly a good start by this United side.
Well, I think their key is the fact that they keep the ball moving. There's very few players that dwell on the ball. One touch, two touch maybe.
The Australian coach, Raul Blanco, has put all of his chips on youth and spun the roulette wheel tonight. He was tempted to play some of the more experienced internationals currently playing in the NSL, but felt that they just weren't fit enough. The Olympic side has been overseas on a 4-match tour. They're razor sharp, so he decided to take a chance. We'll see as the match progresses whether the gamble pays off or not. Grella has a clever ball to Aurelio Vidmar, and Colosimo just slipped. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 0 after 8 minutes. White ball, little ball. Irwin, Blomqvist, just couldn't keep the ball in there. Hayden Fox is only playing his third international tonight, but he is very much a leader at the back. It's Michael Petkovic comes long for Aurelio Vidmar, easily won by Henning Berg. Fox forward from the back. Fox was just a little bit too quick for the Man United number 6, Mark Wilson there. This is the 4th tour over the years by Manchester United to these shores. Certainly on the previous 3 visits, things were not going anywhere near as well for the club as they are now. They quoted in the paper the other day as being in a clothing company that has football as a sideline. That's how big their business is worldwide. It's ball just overhit really for the run through the centre by Mickey Butt. Tiato. Vidmar. Everton caught in possession by a sharp challenge by David May. Manchester United coach Alex Ferguson isn't here, but his assistant is Steve McLaren, who joined the club last February from Derby County. Alex Ferguson about to become Sir Alex when he's knighted on June the 21st. That's why he's not in Australia. Cross just a little bit too deep. Promising build-up, Paul Wade. Australia finding men wide, not for the first time in the game.
No, they've got to continue to do it as well. It's very interesting to see Ross Aloisi not having a crack at goal there, and I guess still a few nerves there for a few of the youngsters until they actually get into this game. The more experienced players seem to dwell on the ball that little bit longer. People even like Brett Emerton, Aurelio Vidmar. But the youngsters, it's almost as if it's a hot potato and they want to get rid of it real quick.
York put to ground there by Ross Aloisi. Phil Neville played just about anywhere in defence or midfield for Manchester United, but Greening goes back. Great little touch off from him. Irwin forward from the back. Well, a very good challenge that by Simon Colosimo, not only because he won the ball, but he came away with the ball as well, and he stayed on his feet. He wins the throw for the Socceroos. 21-man squad named by Raul Blanco will be playing in the Olympics next year for Australia. So many of the squad haven't played an international game yet. But their opportunity, no doubt. Two debutants tonight in Steve Leybutt and Michael Petkovic. So many others with very little international experience as well. Vince Grella, just one game. Marcelo Wissi, just two. Hayden Fox with two as well, and Colosimo with just four. So this gives you an idea of the occasion for Australia's players as York wins the corner. Second of the game for United. Take it short. Rockfist, great cross. Plenty of red shirts in there. Petkovic comes and gathers only just off the bar. Well, a great chance there for Henning Berg. Michael Petkovic came off his line. He was committed, but he came for this high ball here, jumping with Sheringham, who's very strong in the air. Berg hit the crossbar. Well, he had a chance to score the first goal of the season for Manchester United. He's only ever scored twice for them. It's Grella. Melbourne boy, really enjoying the prospect of facing United on home soil. And Lazaridis, all confidence. Sharp there was Nicky Butt. A razor-like in the tackle, and Tiato goes down. And more than anyone in the Australian side, Danny Tiato knows all about Manchester United. He plays for crosstown rivals Manchester City. He's well and truly used to hearing the praises of United being sung. I'm sure he hears it all the time, and he goes down there under the challenge from Phil Neville. Just over a quarter of an hour gone here at the MCG. Australia with the free kick. Everton, probably the tallest Australian player in a forward position at the back post. Bosnich knows all about him, no doubt. Well, it is a corner to Australia. Mark Bosnich can't believe it. A little strange for Bosnich tonight, facing his own country. Manchester United adamant that Bosnich was going to play for them. As Tiato takes the corner, Bosnich is under it. That's way too close to a goalkeeper of his calibre.
Yeah, but I wonder how much confidence that has given Mark Bosnich. As I say, I think every game for the first half a dozen games of the season, everybody will be judging him on what Peter Schmeichel did, and that'll do his confidence a world of good.
York inside. Sheringham. Pushing the back. Mark Shearer let it go just a fraction to see if there was any advantage there. Well, perhaps thankfully now for Australia, David Beckham isn't in the lineup, because this is well and truly his territory. Dennis Irwin, perhaps the man to step up for Manchester United, as we see the foul on Sheringham there by Steve Leybutt. Dwight York over the ball as well. Coming in alongside him is Nicky Butt. York takes it. That's a corner. Dwight York just trying to curl it in Michael Petkovic's top right-hand corner there. Blomqvist Top the corner. Petkovic stays on his line. For Wade, we're just about had 18 minutes gone. How have the Socceroos settled, in your opinion?
Well, I tell you, I think they're doing a good job considering it's Manchester United. They have been outdone a couple of times in the midfield because they are short. I believe that, you know, playing a wing-back system, you leave three in the middle, and sometimes they can be exposed by the four midfielders from Manchester United who like to play a lot of 1-2s. I think Dwight Yorke's runs up front have caused a few problems for Alex Tobin and Steve Lavert. But on the whole, I think that considering the experience difference, I think the Aussies have done a great job in the opening few minutes.
Frank Farina, you've had a closer look at the action from your position on the sideline. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think Manchester United have settled a lot more, especially in the middle of the park, as Paul said. They've seemed to have mastered the conditions here on this hard, bumpy surface. First touch is very, very important, and Manchester United at this stage just seem to be doing it a lot better than the Socceroos are. And by the looks of things up front, the Socceroos don't really have a lot of options at the moment. Aurelio Vidmar seems to be the lone ranger up there, and they're getting forward, and it seems to be breaking down there.
United have had some opportunities from corners. This is their fourth. Blomqvist, the in-swinger with the left foot. Petkovic comes. I think he got glove to ball there. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 0. Hasn't had too many opportunities to go forward like he would enjoy. And it's a foul for Australia against United's number 7, Jonathan Greening. Well, the rule on substitutes tonight is that either side can use as many as they like, and Steve McLaren told me earlier that he expects to use his full squad here this evening, provided that the result is safe. Space, just as he likes it. Lazaridis couldn't keep the ball in. The major talking point over the summer break in England was the likelihood that Manchester United will not compete in next season's FA Cup, which is an unprecedented move by the Football Association in England. They would prefer that United travel to Brazil to play in the World Club Championships, and in doing so assist the England World Cup bid for 2006. But certainly the United fans just can't believe that their side won't be defending the trophy. There's still a little bit of debate on whether that will be the final case. The case itself actually keeps reopening and closing. Oh, fine ball. Irwin attacking down the left-hand side. Oh, he kept it in, and that's a brilliant cross. Here's Yorke. Well, Dwight Yorke, 29 goals last season for Manchester United, but look at the legs on Dennis Irwin. Brilliant work from him. This is the first of 4 matches for Manchester United in their pre-season tour. As Fox shows his confidence on the ball, perhaps just a little bit too overindulgent, giving the ball away there. Coming back to help out was Colosimo. Tobin. Grella, nice play from Australia. Brilliant football, in fact, as Grella comes forward in the midfield. Free on the left-hand side. Oh, this is great play. Lazaridis will come into the action right now. Australia's best move, Vidmar. Still Vidmar. Lazaridis now cutting inside, little ball to the back. Oh, great save, Bosnich. The best move of the game without a doubt, and it came from the Australian side with Danny Tiato at the point of it all. goal. It was the quality of the build-up. As we see the latter stages here, when the cross came in from Lazaridis and Tiato was there, and a fine save by Mark Bosnich. That one was made to look a bit easier, but poor Wade, that was a sparkling move by the Socceroos.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've seen the Socceroos play some good football, and I include against the World 11 as well, but that's as good as anything I've seen, that passage of play. It was confident. Vinny Grella got hold of the ball like he should be doing in the midfield. Aurelio Vidmar got involved, Stan Lazaridis out wide. It was just exactly what Australia football is looking to do in the next, well, couple of years if we're going to qualify for the World Cup.
What a boost of the confidence of the players on the park, as well as Tiato does well to bring down a very difficult ball, and a deep cross as well, as Vidmar's lurking as always. Colosimo takes over, pulls it back. United's defence with their first bit of work of the evening. Oh, and that is a bad challenge from behind by David May. Well, May can't really be complaining about that decision. We saw a World Cup 12 months ago where tackles like that were sometimes red-carded. Right into the back of the Achilles tendon of Aurelio Vidmar. Well, no card was shown. Bit of generosity perhaps there, Wadey?
Absolutely.
Australia with a free kick, curled in to the near post and easily handled at the near post as well by Nicky Butt. Frank Farina is down on the touchline.
Yeah, I think we saw there the frustration coming out of Manchester United there. Australia in the last 5 minutes seemed to have been getting on top a little, especially in the midfield with Vinny Grella. And I think that tackle there on Aurelio Vidmar, as you say, you know, possibly in a more serious competition game, could have easily received a red card.
That's a great ball, but well covered at the back. Sharp work again by Simon Colosimo. He's recently been to Europe himself, trialling with a number of clubs over there. It's only a matter of time before he signs for one of them. Bayern Munich was the latest club that was interested in him. I'm sure a player like Simon Colosimo looks at the opponents tonight and thinks, as we see there, Vidmar again pulled down, this time by Henning Berg. Colosimo would see this as an opportunity to impress the biggest and the best. Michael Petkovic, it's his 23rd birthday tomorrow. If he keeps the clean sheet, he'll be celebrating tonight, I'd suggest. Oh, look at this. Emerton causing problems. Loose ball. Well, Aurelio Vidmar was half a metre away from getting in a shot on goal here, and Australia have Lazaridis out wide. Early cross in, Emerton touchdown, a difficult one for him. But certainly the last 10 minutes, Wadey, have been Australia's.
Yeah, they certainly have. I guess Aurelio Vidmar was trying to take that extra touch there on the edge of the 18-yard box. Obviously, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but you just wish they'd have a crack at goal.
Well, Alex Ferguson, the Manchester United manager, has said that he has a team full of big egos. And boy, is it a test for the young referee tonight, as a bit of an all-in wrestling match there by Butt and Emerton. And there was an arm swung there, there's no doubt about it, as Vidmar tries to bring Colosimo into the game.
Paul, I think Mark Shields has got to get hold of this game, the referee. I think it's getting a little bit out of hand. There's a couple of tackles flying in that are late, that are a couple from behind, studs showing.
Oh, but look at this. Danger for Australia. He's missed it. chance sprung up from nowhere. Jonathan Greening had an opportunity to score his first goal for United senior side. As Fox came in and it just bounced off Sheringham into the path of Greening. Petkovic did well to spread himself. Let's give him some credit for that save. So chances at both ends in the last few minutes. Frank Farina is down on the touchline.
Well, I think Mark Shields, as Paul just said before, he has to start getting a hold of it, because you're seeing the competitive nature coming out in Manchester United here. These players do not like anybody getting on top of them. In the last 10 minutes, Australia, to be fair, have gotten on top of them. And some tackles are starting to go in, which are showing that this is just a little bit more than a friendly game.
You think they're trying to test out the referee, Frankie, and just see how tough he'll be?
Well, I don't know about that. I just think that they're getting a bit upset because the Australians, especially across the middle of the park, are getting on top of them. And we know the competitive nature. That's why they're the champions of Europe and the champions of England. They don't like to get beaten.
Well, as I said earlier, they haven't lost since December, so they're not used to coming away with anything else but a victory, as Colosimo just lost his way a little bit there in the Manchester United area. Fouls tally is United 7, Australia 4. As we come up to the half-hour mark here at the MCG. There's no Roy Keane or Paul Scholes in the centre of United's midfield. Similar fashion to the European Champions Cup final. Both were missing from that game with suspension. Paul Scholes is actually in England waiting for the birth of his first child. That's why he's been excused from the trip. It's a sharp turn from Greening. Challenge on him. Ross Aloisi gets the first yellow card of the game. There's a disappointed booing from the crowd, and I can understand why, Wadey.
Yes, indeed. It's probably come out about 3 tackles a little bit too late, that yellow card. It all should have started way back when Aurelio Vidmar was done from behind. All it is obstruction. A little bit of play acting by Manchester United, and it draws the yellow. Nothing in that really, was there? Ross Aloisi playing his football in France these days with FC Lorient. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 0. United throw. Now, which way will that go? It's a goal kick. I know one man who'll be watching tonight with a lot of interest is the South Melbourne coach, Ange Postecoglou. South Melbourne are likely to be Oceania's representative in World Club Championship next January in Brazil. What a coup it would be if South Melbourne were drawn against Manchester United. So extra interest for the locals here in Melbourne. Blomqvist showing a lot of interest as he goes forward and plays to Sheringham. The little layoff was a delight. Still United just on the edge of the area. Fox forward for Australia, pushing into midfield as Irwin wins the ball. Oh, that's a high challenge. Dwight York scored 29 goals in 52 games for Manchester United in his first season there, as Colosimo takes one in the chest. Lazaridis again.
Australian charge forward, the flag stays down. Vidmar in the area. Everton pulled away to the left. No one really in the centre. There's Tiato. Colosimo's there at the far post, but he was outnumbered 2-1. Blanco has established himself really as a contender for the Socceroo job. It's confirmed now that Australia will play the 5th place getter in South America in the next World Cup campaign, provided they can get through Oceania. Raul Blanco, with his vast knowledge of South American football, all of a sudden he stepped up the pecking order for the Australian job. Offside, and it was very close, but half a metre is all that's needed as Everton just strayed beyond the final defender. Fox covering beautifully. Aloisi. Again, Australia in midfield, who are starting to get on top of United in that department. Just on 10 minutes to go before the break. The match has evened out somewhat after a strong start by Manchester United. That's a nice play by Greening, skipping past his man. Fox came out to meet him and did the job as the first offender. Greening plays the ball in. Sheringham's there. Lazaridis. The ball hasn't gone out yet. Longfus. Great challenge that by Tobin, coming a long way out of position to get to the ball, and Petkovic will come together. Straight to Henningberg, who gives it straight back. Lay off Lazaridis, trying to charge through from that left-hand side. Tiato get a challenge in on Neville. Possession being swapped fairly readily at the moment. There's some complaints by Manchester United about the quality of the surface here, but apart from that centre square where the cricket pitch normally is, I walked out on the pitch before the game and it's quite flat. Not too many problems at all. Now Australia, Vidmar, if he can just get the ball forward. Tobin finds Tiato. Real promise in that move by Australia, and that's a great ball if Everton can get there. Well, Bosnich backed his judgment there, because Everton was arrowing in just to get to the near side of Mark Bosnich there. If he had have got a touch on the ball, it was virtually a certain goal. This is Wilson, hardly involved too much in the first half, and he just lost his footing there. Making it easy for Ross Aloisi. I'm sure Ross would have loved his younger brother John to be on show tonight with him as well, both playing for Australia. Coventry City player was demanded at pre-season training by his club.
If I could just say that Danny Tiato is playing a crucial role in this game. There's a huge gap between a flat back four and a flat midfield at the moment, and he just found a gap there then to try and get Aurelio Vidmar through. If he can just find those gaps a little bit more often, be a little bit more adventurous, try and leave his man if it were. I mean, we have got a sweeper, the man on the ball right there, Hayden Fox, so we can afford to take chances in the midfield. If we can do that, I think we just might open this United team up.
Well, Hayden Fox taking a few chances at the back, and he was made to pay for it by Dwight York there. But it's great to see, and I'm sure Raul Blanco encourages Fox to dwell on the ball, because Australia gets so much out of it when they do come forwards through him. It's a risky game against the likes of York and Sheringham, though. Neville, who's actually been capped 15 times by England as well. He once played cricket for England at the under-16 level and football all in 1 week, so he's a bit of an all-rounder. That's a chase for Aurelio Vidmar. Tiato has got a somewhat fiery reputation in this country. He used to be a Melbourne Knights player, before that a Berlin player. Now Everton, a little bit of room for him to move. Doubts the ball didn't go his way. Just bobbled in front of him a little bit there. So take a look at the United bench, and Steve McLaren just sitting on the right-hand side of the four there. Ryan Giggs in the background. No doubt we'll see a little bit of him tonight. Now Steve McLaren what he knew about the Australian side. He knew absolutely nothing. In fact, he started to quiz me for information. Less than 5 minutes to go until the break. Colosimo in space. We're really for him to go. So Fox plays quite an arrogant little first-time chip around Dwight York there. Lazaridis, loose ball. Chasing is Aurelio Vidmar. The flag stayed down despite the appeals, which I'm sure you can hear at home. Lazaridis carrying on, playing it right across. Colosimo will take it. Well, to his credit, he gave it a go first time, and that is what Australia need.
Well, the one thing that's disappointed me from the Australians' point of view in attack is that every time they get the ball on that side with Lazaridis, there's nobody in the middle. Simon Colosimo there, the wing-back, having to get himself forward into that 18-yard box.
Let's give him a lot of credit, because it's an unfamiliar position he's playing, don't forget. He's normally either a sweeper or a centre-back. He's been asked to do a lot more legwork tonight. Lazaridis might fancy his chances. Well, 2 shots within 60 seconds for the Australian team, and more signs that Raul Blanco's team are growing in confidence here. It was like an extra attacker, Stan Lazaridis. Longfist has largely been kept quiet by Colosimo, who's also managed to have his moments in attack as well, so he's having a great first half, the young Carlton player. Now Grella. Just a little bit too much weight from the challenge by Nicky Butt, put Vince Grella off. Now York's in a little bit of space. Turning away as Australian side getting in behind the ball. Wilson takes over. York again. It's a sharp turn. Free is Dennis Irwin. Coming out to cover as Alex Tobin is it. Irwin gets the cross in, but Tobin was perfectly positioned. That's nice calm work by Brett Everton. Brilliantly anticipated there by Tiato. It's just bundled out.
He's getting through a lot more work now in that midfield. He's been a little bit more adventurous himself. Just picking that gap between the defenders. On this occasion, didn't quite get away with it, stumbled over the ball, but he needs to do more of it. He needs to be encouraged to do it a little bit more. But then again, he needs to cover in midfield if he does go forward.
Well, he's got terrific work ethic, Danny Tiato. He'll play from penalty area to penalty area all day if you ask him to. As the ball is cleared, Australia just going through there. Lazaridis with the ball, whipped across. Plenty of green and yellow shirts in forward positions there, which is good to see. Played by Steve Labert. Flag has stayed down, Vidmar's in there, and a covering tackle means it's a corner for the Socceroos. The third of the game, and David May was the final defender to beat as the flag stayed down there. Calls from Mark Bosnich. As we are about to go into time added on in the first half. A perfect moment for a goal as Aloisi takes the corner. Oh, the bounce of the pitch there, certainly fooling Wilson. Tiato with a late challenge on York. Players naturally, especially those at the highest level of the game, conscious of getting injured so early on in the season. It's important that they fight for their places. This is a great opportunity for United. Played across. Well, it's a corner, no one there to finish it off in a red shirt, despite the fact that several were streaming into the Australian penalty area. And the corner's been taken. York spinning away, forced away from his goal. And here's Blomqvist. Oh, great goal. There is no doubt about the quality of that strike from Jesper Blomqvist. Timing of the volley is matched only by the timing of the goal, which is barely seconds before the half-time whistle. United's first goal of the 1999-2000 season comes from the Swedish international. That was beautifully picked out by Greening, and that was clinically finished by Blomqvist.
Well, I think it all came when the Socceroos gave the ball away in the middle of the park. They conceded that corner and then fell asleep. They've done so well to take United almost to half-time. And just that lapse in concentration. Maybe it's the MCG, I'm not quite sure. Maybe we're revisiting that Iran game. But it was just a lapse in concentration and bang, the professionals do it again.
Ferguson, the United coach, once said that attitude, hard work and team spirit make a team, and that's certainly the sort of performance that the Australian side has shown in this first 45 minutes, and they may feel just a little bit aggrieved to go in at the half-time break a goal down, but it really was a strike of absolute quality from Jesper Blomqvist merely seconds before the half-time break on the volley. Really giving Michael Petkovic no chance. But Australia will go in at the break, confident that they have what it takes to break United down after half-time. But the score here at the MCG is Manchester United 1, Australia 0.
And Aurelio Vidmar.
Paducah, oh, what a super goal!
And this time, Kewell makes no mistake.
Welcome back. Half-time here. Manchester United with that late goal from Jesper Blomqvist at the 46-minute mark lead the Australian Socceroos by 1-0 in what has been a very entertaining opening half. It's been very enjoyable, Paul.
Very much so. Yeah, I think it's shut a few people up who said that we were going to get beat 7 or 8-0. They've certainly gone out there and made us proud.
United had the best of it early. Henning Berg had a terrific chance, didn't he, in the early stages?
Well, the two strikers were making great runs and the midfield were supporting superbly well as well. And I thought that United were well on top. Maybe it was nerves, I'm not quite sure. But after that, boy, there was the chance there. He should have put that away, Henning Berg. But boy, the green and gold came back and they were fighting well.
Gee, it was a terrific build-up where we nearly scored with Tiato. I mean, wonderful play here from the back from Grella, and then both Vidmar and Lazaridis got involved.
That was the key, wasn't it? Vinnie Grella getting involved. There's Danny Tiato, Manchester City's star fullback, if you like, wing-back, and he's playing against the club that he probably would dearly love to play for himself. But certainly Danny Tiato, Lazaridis and Vinnie Grella have done a great job to bring Australia back into this.
So suddenly we'd seen a change. The Australians were getting on top. Arguably the best chance of the first half didn't turn out to be a goal from Jonathan Greening, who's been pretty impressive, but he missed an almost sitter here.
Yeah, he certainly did. I guess that's why this is one of the reasons why there are so many players at Man United. You know, he can be changed instantly. Man United are not playing well at the moment. They'll probably cop a serve at half-time. They'll change a few things. They'll come out and they'll start all over again. This green and gold shouldn't lie down.
You thought Petkovic did a pretty good job here, didn't you?
I did. I thought he did a great job. Sprinted out. Have a look. He just sets himself, doesn't sell himself. Now, go on, see if you can beat me. No, you can't.
So that would have been the first goal of the match, but we had to wait till very late, in fact, into injury time. I thought we were going to go in at 0-0, but it wasn't to be. United getting a late goal.
Well, just a lapse in concentration, but what a finish. Blomqvist was actually signed to replace Ryan Giggs if he got another injury. And there he is on your screen. You can see the joy. That's what it means to Man United to win games, or at least lead games at half-time, and they're certainly happy to be, or a look of relief on their face.
Shows you how good he's played. 27 internationals for Sweden, and he's really a reserve here, but he got the goal. You made the point along with Paul Williams and also Frank Farina that the referee lost it for a little while. There were some very clumsy tackles, to say the least.
Indeed there were. I thought he was trying to maybe keep the game flowing, and he let a few things go early, and then he had to let something else go. Then it got out of hand. There was crude tackles, but then he gave the softest yellow card for an Australian team. I'm not quite sure what's going through Mark Shield's mind at the moment.
So it's been a very, very good game to half-time with Manchester United leading by 1-0. Paul, not only is Manchester United a team of superstars, it's a club of mega stars.
It's the biggest club in the world's most popular sport. Manchester United has grown from its humble origins in 1878 to a thriving billion-dollar operation that has loyal fans the world over. The home ground, Old Trafford, is not just a pitch surrounded by seats. It's more like a shrine to the Red Devil religion. There are two megastores on site, one on each side of the ground, which over the last year earned the club over $68 million, almost as much as gate receipts. If you're hungry, you can drop into the Red Cafe for a bite to eat. While if it's history you're after, there's the museum, which takes up 3 levels of the North Stand. The club also pulls money from the Premier League's lucrative television contract with B-Sky B and a multitude of sponsors. The magnitude of the club and what it's worth was signified last year when Rupert Murdoch's British TV company, B-Sky B, attempted a takeover, offering $1.5 billion for the club.
Yes, they're getting bigger and bigger now. Speaking of big money, there was $1 million up for grabs tonight. A spectator was given the opportunity. This gentleman, Jarno Fur, had he scored, from the centre line, he would have been given $1 million. As you can see, he didn't really threaten the goal. He had to get it over the sign there, but he has been given $10,000. So he's had a terrific night's work. Speaking of big things coming up, welcome back to the MCG. That late strike by Manchester United, giving them the lead to half-time. It has been an entertaining first half. The Australians had their chances. Those shots coming from the Goodyear blimp, a very big crowd here, must be close to 70,000 people. And I think they've been thrilled with what they've seen so far in the first half. Frank Farina was a half that changed a few times. United came out strongly, then we had the best of it for quite a while before that late strike.
That's right, United started very well, and the Australians got back into it after about 18 to 20 minutes, and they were unfortunate that Danny Tiata didn't score that goal from a Lazaridis cross. But after that, I think the two best chances of the game, apart from that one, were to Manchester United. One was a bit fortunate, and the second one was a fantastic ball and an absolutely world-class finish. So Frank, it was a good first half.
Frank, we've just seen Bosnich a moment ago. Your impressions of the Australian in goal for Manchester United tonight?
I think Mark will settle very quickly into this club. He's a very confident person, as we all know, and you've seen tonight that those few early takes that he's had and the early save as well would have done his confidence the world of good. And I think we'll see Mark have a great start to his career at Manchester United.
And who's impressed you so far for Manchester United?
Well, I think they've just been sort of, not going through the motions, but they're just playing such good one-touch stuff. And Blomqvist on the left-hand side here, obviously scoring the goal, as well as a few other things that he's done in the first half, quite impressed me.
We're building this Olympic team around a number of these players tonight, and that's good for us. Colissimo, Fox, Grella and Emerton, I guess, are four names that we'll be talking about in Sydney. They've all played pretty well in the first half.
Invaluable experience for all of those young players, and the likes of Laybutt and Hayden Fox there as well. This is the sort of experience you just cannot buy. So it's fantastic for them, and it's going to stand them in good stead, not only for the game on Sunday, but for in year 2000 for the Olympic Games.
Well, we're looking at two old warriors there. Thank you for that, Frank Aurelio Vidmar and Stan Lazaridis. As both the teams are back out, it'll be interesting to see how they use the substitution bench in this second half. It can be a free-for-all. You'd expect United to turn it over quite a bit. Alex Tobin, as always, steady at the back. So it's the Socceroos trailing Manchester United as we're about to commence the second half. That late goal, there's Tobin, captain of the Socceroos from Adelaide City. His old mate Aurelio Vidmar and Mark Shield, the referee for tonight. So this big crowd in anticipation now, getting ready to see what should be a great second half of football.
Well, when Manchester United won the European Champions Cup in Barcelona, they left it very late with 2 goals in the last 2 minutes. And we saw it again in the first half here. You just cannot relax against a side like that for a second. And Jesper Blomqvist made the Australian team pay for that. Well, as well as a football team, they are a massive business concern as well. There are 150 cafes opening up in Asia in the next 5 years, called the Theatre of Dreams. And you can guess what that's all about. The entrances to all of these cafes will be like the tunnel at Old Trafford, so fans can walk in and really get a feel for things. And it's this Australian side with a spirited first half performance that have really got a taste for the match now. And they will feel, as they come into the second half, Wadey, that they're a chance here.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that for a moment. The one thing that they can't do is get carried away with that first half performance. They know as well as anybody that as soon as you relax, as they saw in that last couple of minutes of the first half, this team will kill you off. You know, a 1-0 could turn into 3-0 in the matter of 10 minutes. They've really got to concentrate hard for the first 10 or 15 minutes and try and get back into the game and start playing some football like they did in the first.
Oh, that is a super save from Petkovic. Called into action very early on in the second half. Let's give it another look as Sheringham hit it on the half volley, and that is the faintest of touches. Well, great work by Michael Petkovic there. Suggesting perhaps he's in for a busy second half. We shall see as he comes for this one, and it's a solid punch. Well, his confidence will be sky high after the last 60 seconds of play, and that's a great ball if Aurelio Vidmar can keep it in, which he has, and there's plenty of Australians forward here. The cross was way too close to Bosnich. Neither side has made any substitutions at half-time, perhaps just a little bit surprising. Certainly the Australian 11, you would suspect, would be fairly happy with the way things went, but United are here to build fitness, to build touch for the entire squad, according to their coach, Steve McLaren. Just the wicket at the centre of the pitch there, just deceiving Sheringham. Edmonton, no time to turn there, and he didn't realise it. Important phase of the game, the opening 10 minutes of the second half. United perhaps just starting slightly the stronger of the two sides, as they did in the first half. And Fox, will he get there? He does. Goes long, looking for Tiato. Certainly perhaps as the second half wears on, the extent of the journey for Manchester United to these shores may come into play, and two of the substitutes likely to be used as Bosnich puts one of his defenders under pressure, then goes back, and look at that. Well, you can imagine the ribbing that Bosnich will get from his Manchester United teammates about that against an Australian side in front of an Australian crowd. What a point to smile. He's one of the few goalkeepers who does have an international goal to his credit. Smiles from the coaching staff of Australia, though. There's Scheinflug and July Blanco as the corner comes in. Bosnich comes, he can't get there. He's down, Bosnich. Well, that was a collision there. He gets up before the Australian player. Can't quite see who it is. It's Bosnich clattered into Vidmar there as Fox was coming in to challenge for it. I don't think Vidmar was hit in the head. Well, he is available and ready to come back to Australian football, and that can only be good for the National Soccer League. After 2 years in Japan, he's ready to come home. He's just recently got married. I'm sure all fans around Australia would love to have him back. Goes back to Tobin. Fox, a little ball inside. Space is laboured. This is fine player game from Australia, very much in keeping with the move that really opened up United in the first half, and here they come again with Everton takes the shot. Well, it was an opening that was genuinely created by some good Australian build-up. Brent Everton's left foot not the stronger of the side, but poor Wade. Well, we see from that angle the shot was well wide, but the build-up was very easy on the eye again.
Well, I think the gap was opened up by Simon Colosimo screaming down that right-hand side, but I think Raul Blanco has told these players to have a go at goal. So many times in that first half, they didn't have the confidence to have a crack. Well, maybe we'll see a different story in the second.
High challenge there by Lazaridis. Dwight York. Lazaridis was rumoured to be leaving West Ham last year to go to Manchester United's rivals, Manchester City, but he declined the move. Shot coming in from Mark Wilson. Michael Petkovic can be well pleased with his international debut so far. And he may yet play against Manchester United again in January for South Melbourne in that World Club Championship. Australia, or rather South Melbourne, must qualify through the Oceania Club competition, but they're expected to handle that side of things fairly comfortably. Real Madrid will also be playing in that competition, so there's some big opponents coming up, we hope, for the Australian champions. And interestingly, announced during the week, Real Madrid have been given a bye in their cup competition until the 5th round, or the final 16. As Manchester United were forced to pull out of their FA Cup competition because of the World Club Championship. That just showed a little bit of the ball there, and Bosnich. Australia in possession. Vidmar, not a lot he could do with that one. He just tried to nod it down to the oncoming Tiato as Grella challenges in there. Well, you can bet your life that Vinny Grella will not back off for a second against Wilson. In fact, I'm sure he'd fancy his chances taking on Roy Keane.
Well, I mean, his very first game for Empoli in the Italian Serie A was against the World Footballer of the Year, Zinedine Zidane, so I can't imagine any player at Manchester United on a night like this would trouble him.
But trying to get it behind for Phil Neville on the gallop down the right-hand side. It was one he was never going to win. Well, no doubt not only the players are on trial tonight, but Steve McLaren, the United assistant coach, in his first opportunity to take the United side flying solo. This match is also going live to Manchester via their own TV channel, MUTV. They've even brought out their own commentator. MUTV shows all the reserve team games live. They actually can't show the Premier League ones. The goal scorer. It's Manchester United 1, Australia 0. Crowd just a little bit subdued. Game just dropped off a fraction. Start of the second half. Australia looking for a goal to get back in action as Everton tries to turn away, and it's broken nicely for Aloisi, but he's slipped in the middle, and this is dangerous for Australia because Mickey Butt's coming through the centre. Sheringham, Butt continued his run but went down and looked straight to the referee. Fox helps him up. Was probably the man that tripped him just a few moments earlier. Hayden Fox will take another look here. No, it was all on his own, Mickey Butt. Alex Tobin, the Australian captain, has marked the best strikers in the world. He kept them fairly quiet, and he's continuing in that vein tonight, and it's a nice ball to Tiato in space. Coming short as Everton. Tiato skips past one, but Bosnich will get there. Not too clever this time from Mark Bosnich, just playing it safe. Now Tiato again. Varela just bundled off the ball there by Blomqvist. It's called the most physical league in the world, the Premier League, Wadey, and we can see why with some of the challenges going in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether they're on the other side of the world, they're playing for that red and white shirt, and they're playing against the old enemy.
That's a great ball. corner was taken. Australia's 5th of the game.
It's interesting to know that Raul Blanco has now pushed Danny Tiato further and further up front. There he is going over to take the corner now. We've got Brett Everton and Aurelio Vidmar up there on their own for long periods, and he realises he needs a little bit more support, so Danny's the man in the second half.
He takes the corner. That will be another one. Brett Everton is one of Australia's tallest players. Fox also forward. Alex Tobin lurking as well. Tobin's gone to the near post, but he's got 2 players on him. Ross Aloisi just aims for Tobin. Touchdown! Well, so close there. It was a set move. You could see it taking shape as Aloisi went over to take the corner, and Aurelio Vidmar was almost under the crossbar with that one. Difficult chances. The touch-on came in from Alex Tobin as Irwin was challenging Aurelio all the way.
Well, I'd love to argue that this came off Dennis Irwin rather than anybody else. Aurelio Vidmar did get a touch, but it was Irvin on the line who stopped the ball. But Alex Tobin, that is a classical Socceroo free kick. Alex Tobin's been doing that for years and years, and no matter how many they put on him, he can't stop him. There it is there.
Well, English clubs pride themselves on their quality at set pieces. Australia outsmarted Manchester United there. But for Dennis Irwin, the score would be 1-1. More reason for some optimism for the Australian side, but keep up coming forward. Here's Greening, whipped in the cross, but it was blocked by Lazaridis, who was working overtime to get back to cover. There's a loose ball there, but coming out strongly was Grella. They use the body so well, don't they? It's a fine line between a foul and a steal, and every time it's a steal. Just so strong on the ball, and when they're challenging for the ball, it's a different level. And even Vince Grella, who's been in Italy for half a season now, is finding it tough to live on the ball in the middle of the park there. Great ball, the flag's gone up though, it won't count. Even if York does put it in, which he doesn't. Well, the Australian crowd love that one. You can just see here that Irwin was a fraction offside. Not much in it though.
Well, that's the first time tonight I've seen Simon Colosimo turned inside out. What a beautiful ball delivered inside that fullback. That's what Alex Ferguson wants from his players. He knows that Ryan Giggs and David Beckham can beat that first defender, and once they do that, whether it be from a pass from midfield or one-on-one, they create all sorts of problems in the midfield. But United tonight haven't done that so far. Maybe they do miss those 2 players.
Farina, the substitutes are warming up for the Australian team. Who do you fancy to come on, perhaps? Just hold on for a second there, because York was going through the centre and the ball runs through to Michael Petkovic.
Yeah, I did hear it.
Let's try and get Frankie again. Frank, the Aussies are warming up. A lot of the substitutes. What are the possible changes, do you think, for Ralph Blanco's side?
Yeah, we've got them all warming up out here. I mean, Casey Weirman's stripped down. He's ready to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see young Casey Weirman come on, and possibly someone up front as well with Clayton Zane, who I think will be a possibility as the game wears on, because it seems to have gotten a little bit stale at the moment, and they need some sort of injection to get themselves up and going again.
Side of the Manchester United bench warming up. They're all sitting quite happy watching the game. We're past the hour mark now at the MCG. The whitewash that many people predicted certainly has not eventuated. It's been a very even game. John Curtis perhaps to come on very shortly for Manchester United. But they'll hold it up for the moment because there's players free here. It was cleared away by Lazaridis, who came in from the left to cover. Australia, well, for a moment it looked like there was a very strong break on the right-hand side with Everton. And Frank, finally a change. It's John Curtis for Man United.
Yeah, Man United are going to make a sub at the moment. I think Irwin's coming off and Curtis will be going on. I think Irwin's tired a bit, and this will be their first change for the night.
Well, he is the oldest player on the park for Manchester United, Dennis Irwin. 33 years, what a tremendous career. He's had 9 glorious years at Manchester United. Over 430 games for them. What all the noise is about. The wave is on its way around the MCG. As the substitution is about to take place, and you see the challenge there by Tiato just on field level. So Dennis Irwin, the captain, tonight at least, goes off. And John Curtis, who has played 16 first-team games for Manchester United, so he's not quite as raw as some of the others they've brought with them. To York. Across to Henningberg. There's the substitute Curtis. Tiato just bustled him off the ball, and Vidmar has possession. Tiato's there as well. Emerton's through. This is a great move. Brett Emerton playing it across. Well, Bosnich was backpedaling, double quick there. I'm not convinced that was Emerton's intention, but it certainly caused problems for his own national team goalkeeper.
Well, if Ralph Blanco had wanted his players to shoot at half-time and telling them that story, then I think he'd be very disappointed with Brett Emerton. Perfect opportunity, didn't need to take a touch before he tried to chip it over Mark Bosnich. He had the angle right, he had the whole goal to shoot at. Instead he went one step further.
Colosimo's won the ball back for Australia. Giving it straight back to John Curtis. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 1. Takes over for Australia, finds Emerton, nicely skips inside his man. Well, he's growing in stature, Brett Emerton, with every international game that he plays. As Labour dives in, Aloisi can't get there. United come away with the ball. Here's Sheringham, forward from the back. Phil Neville now on the left-hand side. Oh, Fox himself all the way there. Perhaps too much, but Petkovic comes out. Well, this was the earlier opportunity for Brett Emerton, and he ended up just clipping the ball over. Bosnia's right on his goal line. Blomqvist tried to find a man at the back post, and all he found was the Australian goalkeeper. Well, Aurelio Vidmar is furious that the referee did not give a free kick to Australia there.
Really is a danger though, isn't it, Paul? I mean, they are a flat back four. Alex Ferguson says that I want my central defenders to pick up one-on-one at the back. I don't need a sweeper because I want more players to be able to share the workload in midfield and up front. But sometimes they do play that flat back four so tight, just a yard in it, an offside that's not given, and they pay the price.
The pace of Brett Emerton, perhaps the man to expose them the most, and here he is on the ball right now. Tiato came inside, it was a clever run from him. Nice play again from Danny Tiato. Grella. Lazaridis, who's kept a lot quieter in the second half with those runs going forward. He was outnumbered there by 2 or 3 to 1. It's Australia 0, Manchester United. Labour switches nicely to Alex Tobin. Still just that Jesper Blomqvist goal separating the two sides. If it is to be the match winner here tonight, it was certainly a goal worthy of that tally. Vidmar may have something to say about it, but he just lost his balance. Grella and Butt wrestling for the ball now. And a yellow card that is to Vince Grella, the second of the game, both of them to Australia. Well, Vince Grella has certainly been feeling the heat of some of these United challenges in midfield. Just sense a little bit of payback time for him, but he earned himself a yellow card in the process. Sheringham peeling off the defender. Struggling to stick with him at the moment. Leibert's just lost his man. Sheringham working his way into the area. Neville. Sheringham again. Loose ball. United still with plenty of men forward. It's a very deep cross. York is there, touching it back. No one following in for United, and all of a sudden the game opens up for the Socceroos. Vidmar, the lone man forward. Grella supporting well. Switch of play was to Lazaridis. Now, for once, there's no second defender. He'll run at him for sure, Stan Lazaridis. And Greening had to obstruct him to stop him. Yellow card to Jonathan Greening, but Paul Wade, that's the first time in a long time that we've seen Lazaridis with a bit of room to run.
Indeed, and it was the reason was because Vinny Grella got the ball out to Stan Lazaridis really quickly. They changed the direction of the play. They didn't take forever to do so, and that's what catches United out every now and again. When they can't get the players to push across and create that second defender, that's when they can be exploited.
Well, less than 20 to go on the clock of the referee, Mark Shield. Australia make a change. Vince Grella has made way for Casey Weirman. Weirman playing just his 5th international. Here's another who'll stand up for himself as Fox takes the free kick, and it's, well, it was intended to be a layback from Aurelio Vidmar, and instead United almost down to the Australian penalty area in double quick time. Colosimo forced back, forced to give away a corner. Well, Dwight York was pressing hard there. The ball comes in, Petkovic comes, oh, that's a great grab. Well, in the home of AFL football, we saw Michael Petkovic go up there and pull one down under real pressure.
Yeah, David May was charging in, wasn't he? He was taking no prisoners. Well done, Michael Petkovic.
Now Weirman, an early taste. York, United have a man aside, just strolling back into play. The play goes on, Greening now forced away from the Australian goal. He holds possession well. It was a great idea by the youngster, just trying to clip it inside to Dwight York. And Fox was waiting for that. Change about to come for Manchester United. That's Jordi Cruyff, who joined United back in August in 1996, but there's not too much joy there. He's been a perennial squad player. Son of the great Johan Cruyff, the Dutch international. Jordi himself has played for Holland 9 times, scoring 1 goal. Jesper Blomqvist takes a break. Showed an awful lot of the ball there, and the flag's gone up. If any man can beat the offside trap with a bit of pace, it's Danny Tiato. Frank Farina, what's happening down on the touchline?
Yeah, I thought it was a positive move by the Australians bringing on Casey Weirman. He's definitely a go-forward player. He's going to take a bit of time to get in the game, but we're noticing the big difference is as soon as the ball's played up to Manchester United, they're getting up and supporting so quickly, whereas with Australia at the moment, it seems to be very slow. They play the ball forward and still a bit slow in trying to get up and support the man with the ball.
Fox penalised there for that challenge. Dangerous position perhaps for Manchester United. Take another look here. There's no contact on the ball by Hayden Fox, and he just impeded the run of Mark Wilson there. Now, what can United come up with from the set piece? A little bit of concern on the face of Raul Blanco, understandably. I'm sure he's still grateful that David Beckham's not here in this situation. That's very easily handled. Roy's playing it out wide. It's a nice little step over there. And it's a corner as well. Less than a quarter of an hour to go. The shot comes in, and that is a gem. Nicky Butt backed himself all the way from over 20 metres there. And it can happen so quickly against this side. Australia were comfortably matching their opponents in the second half until the quick corner came in. And Phil Neville spotted Nicky Butt on the edge of the area. Australia was slow to close him down. And look at that. That is a cracker.
Well, Alex Ferguson says he works on a number of things at training, and imagination's one of them. That is imagination. Again, it was the Socceroos who were caught out. A very quick corner from Man United, but didn't get out quick enough to close Nicky Butt down. There he is on your screen, and they took full advantage as Ryan Giggs comes on.
Well, the rule goes up around the MCG for the entry of this man. He's one of United's greats, Ryan Giggs. hard to believe that Ryan Giggs is just 25 years of age. Seems to have been with United for such a long time. He made his debut back in 1991. He's now played over 350 games for them. He's one of the few United players that are still in pretty good shape, he reckons, after playing some Euro 2000 qualifiers for Wales straight after the European Champions Cup final. You've got to say, Wadey, it's pretty tough. You're 77 minutes into the game, you're just starting to feel a bit tight in the legs, and Ryan Giggs comes on against it.
It's going to be a huge test for Simon Colosimo, because you can imagine that Ryan Giggs loves to get down that left-hand side. As I said earlier, Alex Ferguson loves his players to beat the first defender because it causes all sorts of problems. Have a look at the time and space Nicky Butt had, but what a strike.
It doesn't get any more accurate than that, and Ross Aloisi it was on the goal line. He barely had time to just get his boots off the ground and trying to cut that out, and it was whistling past him into the back of the net. But now it's an opportunity for Australia here. They've got men forward 3-on-2, and here's Weirman. Well, certainly Australia's best moment of the second half. They haven't had too many to crow about in attack, but the more the game goes on, perhaps the more United will tire, and another shot comes in. This time it was Everton again.
The reason they're getting these chances is because they go quick. There go Casey Weirman running at speed. Maybe not the most accurate of shot, but at least he made Mark Bosnich make a save. That's what Frank Farina was talking about. He's a player that loves to go forward. When the Socceroos played the Olyroos just before that World 11 game, he was the one who scored past Mark Bosnich. Can he do it again?
And it's a double substitution for Manchester United. David May is making way for Jaap Stam, who was a late inclusion in the tour. He still had Achilles tendon problems from the end of last season. And Wes Brown is also getting a run. Henningberg making way. Well, this is a real opportunity for Australian fans to witness the sheer depth of this club. Remember, there's 4 players still at home who are injured. Vidmar won't get there. It's Australia 0, Manchester United 2. Jacob Burns is the next Australian to come onto the park. Not quite at the moment. And Giggs' first touch. An ambitious one, little back heel. Vidmar takes the shot. Well, it's been a tough role tonight for Aurelio Vidmar. He's been left alone at times in attack. The shot lacked just a little bit of verve. Here's Jordi Cruyff. Less than 10 minutes to go now. Australia need a couple of goals, and they need them fairly quickly. As York spins away. That's nice play by Colosimo. Real courage there. Tiato slipped. He just took over for United. Sheringham. Ambitious ball. Curtis will chase it, and it will be an Australian throw, and Tiato is just getting back to his feet after going down on the halfway line, just holding his groin. It may affect the substitution that Australia will make. We'll just wait and see, because Jacob Burns is waiting to come on. Take another look here as Tiato, well, he only slipped. Jacob Burns. He's in action now for the Socceroos. Tiato, as a result of that slip, has gone off. It was going to be Brett Emerton to come off, but he stays on. Another change as Tiato takes a seat. Manchester United. Michael Clegg is the replacement for the European champions. Certainly United are a shadow of the side that started the game. It's Jordi Cruyff comes forward, great run by him, still going. Oh, York's offside. It would have been a fine move had Dwight York not just straight offside there. He is one of the few United players that has been to Australia before. He's also played against Australia back in 1991 in the World Youth Cup for Trinidad and Tobago. That's when he first met Mark Bosnich. The pair were teammates at Aston Villa. Now they're teammates once again at Manchester United. We'll give it away. Weirman inside. Emerton was to play away from goal as Weirman plays it in, looking for Aurelio Vidmar. Now, danger here for Australia because United have players in some good forward positions, but the long legs of Steve Labour. Ball goes back to Bosnich. He's playing his fourth game for Manchester United tonight. He's had his second spell with the club back in 1991 when he first went over to England to try his luck. He joined Manchester United as an apprentice and he made 3 appearances in the English First Division as it was in those days. Weirman helping it on. The flag went up for offside. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Colosimo still looks fresh. That's another offside for Australia. Aurelio Vidmar has toiled hard tonight. Zayn is the other attacker in Raul Blanco's squad. A sign yet of him coming on. That's a great cross. No one there for United, perhaps. Our first hint that they are just getting a little bit fatigued in the legs, and it's taken a long time to come. We're 4 minutes before the end of the game. It's true depth of fitness with this team, I'm sure, as Weirman gets past his man, but that's gone out.
Well, if Alex Ferguson's watching this back in Manchester, I'm sure he realises that he's got a little bit of work to do. I know that's it's not exactly the English Premier League. He did say one thing. He said, we'll enjoy that treble until we lose, and then all hell will break loose. Well, there's a couple of moments tonight where you thought that that might be on the cards, but I guess there's a lot of these stories that are going round. For many, many years playing against United, we almost had them. We almost had them there. We had them where we wanted them. We played them off the park, but we were beaten. And I guess that's the testimony to the fact that this is a pedigree side that you're playing. They only need a couple of chances.
Hamilton tried to create a chance for Australia. It's a great cross by Lazaridis. And certainly plenty of numbers in the box from an Australian angle. Jordi Cruyff now has got a free man inside. It's Nicky Butt. chasing him. Two young players who are very hungry to make an impression. And another substitution for Australia. Zhang will be coming on as we take another look at the cross by Lazaridis. It's Aurelia Vidmar who is coming off. Clayton Zane, the young Northern Spirit striker, takes his place. Well, it's well laid back. Chance for United here. Great save, Petkovic. Well, Michael Petkovic keeping his concentration right to the end, and he had to there because he was the last man standing between United and their third goal here tonight. Curtis. Let's take another look here. It was Teddy Sheringham. Just toe poked it. And Petkovic using the body to the full.
Well, he thrives on composure, Teddy Sheringham. That's how he scored so many goals. Super sub, they call him, after the end to last season. But on that occasion, maybe that rush of blood to the head made even Teddy Sheringham a little bit human.
Well, in those 37 appearances for England, he's managed 9 goals, so he's finished at the highest level. Petkovic got the better of him on that occasion. Look at this. Sheringham gifted. And he's missed it. That was you and I, Wadey, telling everyone how good he is.
Indeed it was. Well, I guess that's why they need a month's pre-season. But he had a good 6 weeks off. This is the reasons why these guys play for England, play for Manchester United, because they finished them. Not on this occasion.
Yes, a little bit of rustiness, no doubt, there for Sheringham, but he'll be very keen to assert his place in this Manchester United pecking order with the likes of Andy Cole, who we haven't seen tonight. So he come into the squad, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, who's also injured. He wasn't stripped tonight. Weirman. That is a goal kick. As we move into time added on here at the MCG. Yep, Stam. An outstanding first season for United last year. In many people's eyes, he was the best player in the squad over the entire 9 months. Is there something left in the game for Australia? Perhaps there's more for United as Giggs. You can see what was on his mind. Michael Petkovic was right on the edge of his area, and Giggs tried a shot, but just bobbling on that cricket pitch in the middle of the MCG. Well, very little time added on in the second half here by Mark Shield. We saw the quality of Manchester United in 2 instances tonight. In the first half, it was Jesper Blomqvist with a stunning finish at the back post. But after the break, it was Nicky Butt. Also, in a flash, had the ball in the back of the Australian net. So quick, so sharp, and so difficult to stop. They don't need too many openings. Australia very much can take heart from this game with a shadow side, if you like, with young players and a few old heads amongst some Lazaridis there as he trudges off. But there's another battle to be done on Sunday. Mark Bosnich shaking hands with Simon Colosimo there. Frank Farina has Nicky Butt.
Nicky, well, obviously a fantastic strike. A bit hard coming off the back of 5 weeks holiday, but how did it feel out there?
Yeah, it was nice to get back in the swing of things. Well, the team gives a good game. It's great atmosphere in here, and we're all enjoying the game today, and hopefully it'll be a good game again next week.
How did you find the surface tonight? A bit bumpy in the middle?
A bit bumpy, but it's good for our touch. We can start getting used to these pitches now. It's going to be hard. So we're just glad to get a game under our belt.
What about the strike? Off the top shelf?
I just had to hit a bad first touch, so I just didn't take it away the net, luckily enough.
Well, it was a great strike, and I think all the fans here really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy the tour, and we'll see you in Sydney on the weekend.
Cheers, thanks a lot.
Nicky Butt there, our Telstra man of the match with Frank Farina. It was a great strike in the second half. Now Aurelio Vidmar's with Frank.
Aurelio, a bit of a tough game out there, mate.
Yeah, it was difficult. We're doing okay until they got a goal right in half-time. I think that sort of killed us a little bit. And they started playing a lot more relaxed in the second half, and we started to chase a little bit more, which we didn't want to do.
You obviously played a different role tonight up front as a target man. Normally you play in behind. How are you finding that role? It seems that you were getting a lot of ball, but you seem to be a bit of a lone ranger up there.
Well, everyone knows that's not my position, Frankie, so we don't have a great choice of forwards here except for Clayton Zane. So, you know, I had a job to do, try to do it the best of my ability, but I think it was a little bit difficult for us getting out of midfield, so especially in the second half. But that's got two fantastic goals, and what can you do with that?
Something to work on for Sunday, but I thought it was a pretty promising performance tonight. We had patches where we played very well, and with a bit of luck could have had a couple of goals.
Yeah, there was a lot of young kids in the team tonight, and we met up with each other on Sunday, so it's very difficult to get a good passing game going in such a short time. So I thought we did okay, and hopefully it's a little bit of an encouraging sign for Sunday.
Can we see Aurelio Vidmar back on the playing fields of Australian soccer next year?
Well, Frankie, I'll make a decision after the Man U game, so sometime next week there'll be a press conference happening around somewhere, so we'll have to wait till then.
If it happens, mate, it'd be good to see you back.
Okay, thanks, Frank. Cheers.
No worries.
Sounds promising, doesn't it, that he'll be coming back and playing in the National Soccer League. Frank Farina there with another Australian great in Aurelio Vidmar. But this long unbeaten run continues. December last year since this famous club has been beaten. And tonight they had a comfortable victory in the end over a gallant Socceroo team. But in the end it was Manchester United, Blomqvist at 46 and then Butt at 75. And the final score, Man U 2, the Socceroos 0.
It's David Beckham's party piece for Manchester United, and now he's done it for his country.
And here surely is another chance for Giggs.